here's my saxophone case. It's a little bigger than my screen here, but let's take a look anyways. All right, as we open it up, we've got a lot in here, but the big thing that jumps out is obviously the instrument here is in one pretty large piece. You may have something like this. It's kind of just a cleaner, but you will take that right out. Magic. When you're ready to play, all the keys and mechanisms are on the main part of the instrument here, so please be careful with that. Next, we have the neck, which will attach to the top of the instrument. There is a little bit of something here. This is also very delicate, so watch out for that. Then we have a mouthpiece that has a ligature. And finally, the reed. You'll need one of these. I recommend you have at least 3 reeds in your case at any given time. So now that you know the parts of your saxophone, let's get started with putting it together. Now, I did forget to mention the neck strap. So yes, you need a neck strap. It's something that will go over your neck and it helps you support the instrument and makes it a lot easier to play. So now that I have my neck strap on, you'll notice it has a little hook. So with my instrument here, what I'm gonna grab, you'll notice there's a little, like a circle, a receiving part for that hook of my neck strap. And then basically, that goes there. So now I have my instrument here with me. It's attached. Doesn't mean I can go crazy, but I can kind of be free here. And then we'll have the neck of my instrument, and that goes just right on top here, like so. It just takes a little pressure till it goes in. And there should be a little screw here to tighten that, to hold it firmly in place. All right, so that is the main large part of the instrument. We're going to focus on the mouthpiece because it gets a little tricky. So we're going to unattach that. I'm going to set the instrument aside. And we're going to take a look at the mouthpiece. So on the mouthpiece, you have a ligature and a reed that work together. Now, when you first assemble your instrument, the first thing you should actually do is take your reed and put it in your mouth to make sure it is wet so it can play, so your instrument can play. If you want, you may get a small cup of water and put your reed in that instead of putting it in your mouth, but no matter what, it's the first thing you do. Your reed must be wet to make your instrument play. So, with your mouthpiece, your reed is basically going to cover this opening here, and you'll line the curvature of the reed to the curvature of the top of the mouthpiece. So it should look something like this. So when it's set up correctly, the reed is lined up with the top of the mouthpiece, something like that. And there's a tiny gap for air to get through the reed and the mouthpiece right there. So there's a tiny gap in there. When you look at your reed, you'll notice that it either has like a little scoop here or just a line. And this is the thicker part of the reed right here. This part is thick. So when you put the ligature over the whole thing, you want to make sure the ligature lines up with these screws here, something like that on the reed. So here we go. The reed is nice and lined up. Of course, it is all prepared because it is ready to go. Once it's lined up, I'm going to take my ligature and carefully place it over my mouthpiece, because if I'm not careful, I might hit my reed and chip or break it, and then I'd be down a reed. Once the ligature is lined up on that thicker part of the reed, we're just going to tighten these screws like so. And that is pretty much lined up. So this is a properly placed reed mouthpiece ligature. That's what it looks like. This is tricky, but over time you'll get better and better at it, and it won't take so long. But just make sure to take your time in the beginning. All right, so now that I have my mouthpiece ready, let's go back to my instrument. I'm going to hook my neck strap back onto it, and then my mouthpiece goes over this corked part here, and I can just slide it on. Doesn't have to be all the way pressed in or anything like that, but that's something there. So now that I have everything set up, I want to make sure it's the right height. So I want to make sure that when I push the instrument up, it goes to my mouth. So this is a little bit too short for me. So I'm going to raise up my neck strap and try again. That feels good. So making sure that the instrument just kind of goes right to you, so it's at the right height.